You type the email on a Tuesday night, not because you planned to, because your manager said something in the 4 o'clock meeting that you've already forgotten, and your body decided before your brain did. You hit send, you close the laptop, you sat in the dark for 11 minutes. Wednesday morning, you wake up and the job is gone. The first thing you feel is not freedom. It is the specific silence of an alarm you didn't set. Your phone doesn't buzz at 6:47. The meeting you always dreaded at 9 is happening without you right now. Someone else is sitting in your chair. The chair doesn't know the difference. You have $400 in checking, a credit card with $2,100 left on the limit. Rent is due in 19 days. You open your laptop and search. How long does it take to find a job? The results say average 3 to 6 months. You close the laptop. You open it again. You search. How to make money fast. You close it again. Your phone buzzes. A coworker. The text says, "What happened?" You type back, "Needed a change." You put the phone face down. You eat cereal for dinner because the grocery store requires math you don't want to do yet. You tell yourself tomorrow you'll make a plan. Tomorrow comes. You make coffee. You open a document called PLAN. You type your name at the top. You close it. The money in your account is not a runway. It is a countdown. The first rule, at $0 saved, quitting isn't a decision. It's a reaction. And reactions don't come with plans. The clock is already running. Level 2, $4,000 saved. You quit with a window. You gave 2 weeks notice on a Friday afternoon. You did it right. You told your manager in person. You wrote a transition document. You trained the person taking your accounts. You shook hands on your last day and meant it, mostly. $4,000 in savings. You calculated it before you resigned. 2 months of bare minimum expenses. Rent, utilities, groceries, phone, nothing else. No dinners out. No subscriptions you don't need. No emergencies. The first week feels like a vacation you earned. You sleep past 7. You make breakfast. You go for a walk in the middle of the afternoon and feel briefly like someone who has figured something out. Week 2, the walk feels different. You check your account before you leave the apartment. $3,640. You walk faster than you meant to. You apply for jobs. You update your resume at 11 p.m., which is when your brain finally stops feeling like it's supposed to be doing something else. You apply for 12 positions in 2 weeks, 3 automated rejections, 9 silences. Your friend asks how the job search is going. You say good, some good leads. There are no leads. There is a spreadsheet with company names and submission dates and a status column that says applied 17 times in a row. Week 4, $2,900. You cancel the streaming service. You eat at home every meal. You calculate how many days $2,900 buys you, and the number is not comfortable. The freedom you felt in week 1 is still there, but it moved. It's in a smaller room now, behind the number. The second rule, $4,000, gives you a window, not a landing. And windows close at the same speed whether you're ready or not. The clock is still running. Level 3, $15,000 saved. You quit with a plan. 3 months of expenses. Real ones, not minimum ones. Rent, food, health insurance out of pocket. A small buffer for the thing you didn't plan for. You left on good terms. Your manager shook your hand and said the door is always open. You know she meant it. You don't plan to use it, but knowing it's there changes the weight of every morning. The first month, you work, not at a job. On the thing. The freelance project, the portfolio, the certification, the business plan you've had in the Notes app for 2 years under a folder called Someday. Someday arrived. It turns out someday requires a desk and a schedule and the discipline to sit down when nobody's watching. Some days you have it. Some days you refresh your inbox 14 times and call it work. Month 2, $8,400 remaining. You land a small freelance project, $800. It takes 3 weeks and the client takes 30 days to pay. But it arrives. And the morning it arrives, you check your account and feel something you don't have a clean word for. Not rich. Proof. You tell your parents you're freelancing. Your mother pauses on the phone. She asks if you have benefits. You say you're working on it. She says okay in the voice that means she'll ask again. Next month. Month 3. $5,100. The freelance work is inconsistent. Some weeks 2 projects, some weeks 0. You've stopped sleeping past 7. Not because of an alarm, because the quiet at 7 a.m. started to feel like pressure instead of peace. The plan is working, slowly, unevenly, in ways the plan didn't specify. The third rule, $15,000, gives you enough time to find out if the plan was real or just an idea you hadn't tested yet. The answer will arrive before the money runs out, sometimes by a week. The clock is slower now, but it's running. Level 4, $40,000 saved. You quit to become something else. Not between jobs. Done with that version of your career. You spent 8 months building the exit before you took it. Savings, skills, one anchor client, locked in before you resigned. You left with a letter of recommendation and a LinkedIn post that got more engagement than anything you posted while employed. The first month doesn't feel like a month. It feels like a different unit of time. You work 4 hours in the morning and the work is yours. Every email you send has your name on the from line, not the company's. The thing you're building has your fingerprints on every surface. $40,000 sits in a high-yield savings account, earning 4.8%. You check it less than you thought you would. Not because you don't care, because it stopped being a countdown and started being a foundation. Month 3. You invoice $4,200. Not a salary. Revenue. Money that came from something you made. The difference is psychological and enormous. Your former coworker calls. He's thinking about quitting too. He asks how you did it. You tell him about the 8 months of preparation. He says he can't wait that long. You recognize that feeling. You had it too. Month 5. A client wants to sign a 6-month contract. $3,500 a month. You sit with the offer for 2 days before signing. Not because you're unsure, because you've learned to pause before you commit. The job never taught you that. Your identity is shifting. You used to answer, "What do you do with a company name?" Now you answer with a verb. You say, "I build, I consult, I make." The sentence is shorter. It takes up more room. The fourth rule, $40,000, isn't just savings. It's the price of becoming someone your previous employer didn't have a job title for. The clock is a tool now, not an enemy. Level 5, $120,000 saved. You quit to rest first, not burning out. Already burned. You took the meeting with HR. You negotiated a severance package 3 months because you knew enough to ask. You added it to the $120,000 and did the math. 14 months minimum. Longer if you're careful. The first month you don't work. On purpose. You sleep. You read things that have nothing to do with your industry. You go to the grocery store at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday because you can. The store is almost empty. You stand in the cereal aisle for 4 minutes and feel something loosen in your chest that you didn't know was tight. Month 2, you start running. Not to lose weight. Because your body has been sitting in a chair under fluorescent light for 9 years and it has forgotten what moving outside feels like. Month 3. You open the laptop, not to apply for jobs, to think. You make a list of everything you never want to do again professionally. The list is longer than you expected. You make a second list, things you would do even if the money was half. The second list is shorter. The overlap between what the market wants and what's on that second list is where you're going next. People ask when you're going back to work. You say soon. You mean when I'm ready. Those two things are not the same timeline, and you've stopped pretending they are. Month 5. A former colleague sends a consulting opportunity. $8,000 for 6 weeks. You take it, not because you need it, because it's the right kind of work and you want to see if rest changed how you do it. It did. The fifth rule, $120,000 doesn't buy happiness. It buys the silence to hear yourself clearly enough to know what you actually want. Most people never get that quiet. The clock stopped being the point. Level 6, $300,000 saved. You quit because the work stopped meaning anything. Not the money, the meaning. You made more last year than your parents made combined in any decade of their lives. The number stopped being a goal. It became a background condition, like temperature. Present, not felt. The morning you decided was a Wednesday. Ordinary meeting. Ordinary agenda. You watched yourself perform engagement and realized you hadn't been present in that room in 4 months. You were there. Your voice was making sounds. Nobody noticed the difference. You scheduled a call with your financial advisor that afternoon. You ran the numbers together. At your current spend rate, $300,000 plus investments covered 7 years minimum. More if the market cooperated. More still if you worked at all. You gave 6 weeks notice. Your VP asked what it would take to keep you. You told him there wasn't a number. He didn't believe you. You understood why. He'd never been in a position where that was true.